An opening statement, and we'll open it up.
Yeah, I just had a tough loss last week at BYU, and we got a great opportunity this week versus a very good opponent that's been on a run the last 6 or 7 weeks, and a chance to go for a winning season, a chance to win a rivalry game, bring a trophy home, and a chance for our seniors to win their 25th game, which is a big testament for what these seniors have done for us. So exciting, important time for our program to try to pull this off and to try to have 2 back-to-back Division I 6-win seasons, which I don't know if we've ever done before. So it's a big exciting game for us, and it all starts today with having a good practice.
Going to that back-to-back Division I looked it up. I could not find a time either that you have done it. What does that speak of the program and the current state of it?
Well, we're trying to build a consistent winner, and this is an opportunity to do that. And that's kind of what we've always talked about here. And can we do it consistently year after year? And to be able to have 3 winning seasons in the Big Sky, since we've been in the Big Sky, that'd be huge for our program. So just to kind of just see our names up there with the Eastern Washingtons and the Montanas every year. That I think that's just the start of building that consistent winner, and hopefully this will be a huge step in the right direction.
So in that regard, how are you guys feeling how the season has gone? Is it like disappointing, or like where's the current mindset at?
Yeah, I think it definitely has been disappointing. I mean, we had high hopes, but if you look at the whole and you look back at the history of Southern Utah, I think you could find there's a lot of positives and there's a lot to play for this week, and so I'm hoping that our guys see that and we come out and prepare the right way and start to build that winning culture that we all want here at Southern Utah.
So how big is the rivalry with NAU?
For me, it's always been really big. Since I've been here, the games have been close. I think 7 out of 8 times have been single-digit games. There's been one time that somebody had a double-digit win. So for me, it's always been very, very competitive, and it's been a game that I've always looked forward to because I knew we're very equally matched, and we're close in distance, and the guys, I don't know, for some reason that we get after it versus these guys. So it'll be a highly competitive game like it always is, and there's been some crazy things that have happened in this series. So it's been a fun one for me. I don't know how the players feel, but I know for me, being here 8 years, it's been a really hard-fought battle every single time.
What about for you, Mike? What's the difference between NAU versus like a Weber?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that as you asked Coach Warren, but I think for the players, we know it's our last game. All 4 years I've been here, we've played NAU the very last, so it's kind of, that last game of the season. So I think it brings out a lot of competitive nature for both sides. For us, I mean, this year, there's not much left on the line besides this game, so I think the players are going to be ready to go out and play, one last game together and give it our all. And I think that's kind of been the approach for NAU too. Is, sometimes they haven't had anything left in the season besides this one game, which they have more, this year. But it's always a battle, and I think that's what makes it a fun rivalry game.
When it comes to just preparing this week, how hard is it to prepare for your final game versus last year when you obviously were preparing for a possible championship?
Honestly, right now it's just the same. I'm trying not to think, too much beyond this weekend. Coach Warren has always said 1 game at a time, and that's kind of the approach I'm taking right now.
When it comes to just the season as a whole, how are the players looking at it at this point?
I think a lot of us are frustrated. I mean, it's not the season we wanted. We wanted to win, every game. We wanted, be playing for a Big Sky championship. We wanted to play in the playoffs. So it's a little frustrating, but, to know that we can go out with a win on our last game, gives us something to play for.
How much does a winning record mean to you guys?
A lot. I mean, like Coach Warren said, there hasn't been consecutive seasons of a winning record, so I mean, it's a little thing, but we'll take hold of it and we'll go with it.
So when it comes to the trophy game, how do you guys use that as motivation to keep that trophy?
I mean, we already lost one, so I don't want to lose both of them in the same year. So I'm hoping our players, they see it every day when they go in the locker room, and for that thing to be empty would be disappointing. So I think seeing that in the locker room every single day hopefully gives it that extra push and to be able to celebrate. And those games are fun when you win and get to take pictures afterwards and all that. So, and then being the last game, it'll be something special for our seniors to go out with.
So we've asked you to kind of look back on your senior class, but this is the final game. What are you hoping they accomplish on Saturday?
Again, I've said it all year. They've had to deal with a lot of adversity, probably more than a lot of senior classes have. And for them to be able to respond one more time and to really show how resilient this program is, I think would be a testament to the senior class, because they've bounced back from a lot of things. They've bounced back from a 3-9 season. They've lost a head coach. They've lost some games in some miserable fashion, and they've been able to bounce back every time. And so it'll be fun to see these guys bounce back one more time and have a positive attitude and finish their career with something special. And again, having another winning season where 3 out of 4 years is a really good accomplishment.
When you look at your season, 2 FBS games probably play a big role in the fact that you're not playing for the playoffs this week. As a coach, how do you feel about those games?
You just I've been locked into 1 week at a time, and being able to play BYU and Utah has been a dream for a lot of these kids, and so they got that opportunity. And we weren't far away from the playoffs. We know what we had to do. We had our chances. It wasn't like it was just those 2 FBS wins. If we won the rest of our games, we'd be having a bye. So there was games that we did not play as well as we wanted to play, and so it's not the FBS games. It's those other games that we got to take care of business. And I mean, you win this game, you won the game out of it, and shoot, the 4th place Big Sky team. That's not a bad deal to be the 4th place Big Sky team out of 13. So it's a great conference, and I'd be thrilled to say we finished 4th coming out of the season.
And when it all comes down to it, I guess 6 wins is the minimum requirement, so I guess your name would still be in that conversation if you win.
Yeah, we'll see.
make a decision at least.
Yeah. We'll put it on them.
So you got to go visit your old friend this week. Is it cool still that you guys still coach against each other, or does it kind of lose its luster after a few years?
Nah, it's always good. I called him this week. I've been to what he went through last week, so I wanted to make sure he was all right. I know that those were some dark times after you blow a lead like that. So we talked briefly about that and then moved on. But yeah, he's a close friend of mine. So yeah, it's always good to see him, no matter what. If it's just hanging out or at a football game, you don't get to. When you're a college football coach, you don't get to see your friends that much. So it's good to see those guys on the sideline or wherever they're at.
So where is their mindset? Because obviously you guys went through it at Weaver. What's their motivation going into this week?
I mean, just trying to dig yourself out of that hole, and really everybody's trying to finish well for their seniors. This will be their last senior home game, and then just building for the off season. I mean, we're both 5-5, and I mean, this is a huge game for both of us, and we're very equally matched, and it'll be a dogfight. And so I think their motivations are the same as ours. We're trying to win a rivalry game. It's the closest thing to a bowl game you'll ever get, with a trophy on the line, with 2 evenly matched teams, almost identical records. And so, I mean, this is the closest thing to a bowl game we have, and it comes down to 2 good teams going for a trophy.
Mike, with your last week of preparation, are you gonna take it in more?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. I'm trying not to think about it. I already said that, but I mean, it is the last week. I'm sure after the game it'll probably set a little harder, but right now I'm gonna go to practice, put on my pads the same, and nothing. I don't think much is gonna change. Just try to take the same approach to the games I already have played.
So you're not on Thursday, you're not gonna be looking around and just man, this is the final time we'll practice here.
We'll see when Thursday comes around. Today is only Tuesday, so we'll see.
Now, when you look back at your career, what are you most proud of that you guys accomplished?
I mean, last year was pretty special, winning the Big Sky. I mean, I think that's easy to, look back and be proud of, winning the Big Sky championship.
Now, when it comes to the 6-5 record, is that because I don't know? I feel like the program as a whole, this is a disappointing year for you guys. But is that something to hang your hat on still? To think, hey, we actually are consistently starting to win these games.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something to be proud of that you had a winning record and not, a losing record. So, I mean, there's always that, but I don't know.
Is it a change of culture though that you felt like, because 6-5 record I feel 3 years ago would have been pretty celebrated, and now it's like, eh.
I mean, coming off, winning the Big Sky and then having a 6-5 record, yeah, it kind of feels that way. But I don't know. Since I've been here, it's been really successful, and then losing season, and then really successful, and then here we are talking about being able to end our record at 6-5. So I think that's a step to building this program to be a consistent winning program.
When it looks at it, Coach, when you're looking at NAU, what scares you the most?
They throw the ball around. They're very aggressive on defense. They have two really good coordinators that have been there for a long time. The head coach has won more games than any coach in the Big Sky history. So it's a definitely mismatch when it comes to experience there. So our players are going to have to step up and do what they do and win one-on-one battles that we were able to do last year on offense. And defensively, we just made just enough plays to win the game at the end. And so it's kind of going to come back down to the same thing. Can we stop their potent offense enough for our offense to get enough points to win? And so it'll be a game with a lot of athletes and a lot of big plays. So hopefully we're making more plays than they are.
When you look at that other sideline and see all those years, all those victories, is that intimidating at all being in your first year?
Nah, once the game kicks off, you're just trying to figure out how to score one more point than they are. And I've never really thought about any of that. No matter who we've gone against, I don't even know what head coaches I've gone against. Really, it's just about the guys and having those guys be as successful as possible and hopefully get a win, because it sucks to go in the locker room and see all those guys disappointed. They work so hard every week, and it's almost more of just a relief when we win, because it's like, all right, you guys got what you deserve, and it was it's a good thing. So it's this feels. I want these guys to be able to end their season the way they should.
When it comes to your defense, is getting anyone back this week?
Mitch Daly will be there for a full game, so that's about it. Everybody else should be there.
And Mike will be there the whole game.
Yeah, Mike should be there the whole game. Yeah, he got kicked out in the first half, so it's the one positive about that.
Good. That's a good way of looking at it. When it comes to Mike, what was his reaction with the team and at the end of that game?
He was just apologetic. Knew he made a mistake. He was trying to make a big play for the team and got there 2 seconds early. So he knows he's not supposed to do that. We talk about wrapping up, and there had only been a 15-yard penalty instead of losing him for the game. So he knew he was wrong, and he owned up to it and apologized to the player, the other coaches, and so he knew he was wrong as soon as he did it.
Was there any awkwardness? Because I saw that Coach Lamb was the one that came off and kind of separated everyone. Was that weird at all to, I guess, have his two sides fighting?
I don't know. Yeah, I was just trying to get Mike out of there. I knew he was kicked out as soon as it happened, so I was just I wanted to get Mike off the field as fast as possible, so nothing else happened, nothing else escalated.
So when your secondary's been kind of beat up and all year, are you worried about their being able to defend the NAU offense?
Definitely. I mean, they got a great receiving core. I don't care if we had any. We couldn't defend them last year, and we had a great secondary. So yeah, I'm always worried about those receivers that they got, and they have a great system up there, and they go fast and they get it rolling on offense. So yeah, if we have Miles Kilgrew and Sean Sims back there, I'd still be nervous. Those guys that's a good offense we're going against, and so those guys have been rolling the last 6 or 7 weeks, and hopefully we could slow them down on Saturday.
When it comes to Miles and James coming back on Saturday, how nice is that to be able to see those guys again?
It was fun. Those are great guys, and players spent most of the time with them, but it's always good to see those guys and their families. Their families have been a big part of my life the last 5 or 6 years, so it's always good to see them and their parents and just hanging around.
Does it speak well for the program when you have those alums from the NFL obviously taking their bye weeks to come back and see you guys?
Yeah, so it means we're competitive. If we weren't competitive, I don't know if they would come back. So and they take pride in what they accomplished here. And so we're hoping to just have more and more alumni come back. I mean, the Weber game and the Portland State game was awesome with a bunch of guys I've never met before. So it's a good thing that the administration's doing, getting all these alumni back involved. And we've always seen the current alumni because they know the coaches, but now to even see the older guys that have been successful inside and outside of football, because at the end of the day, these kids need jobs after college, and so for those alumni to come back and start making connections, it's going to be easier for these guys to make connections after football. So that's the most important thing in our program, and having our administration do some of that legwork to get some of those people back has been great, and so it's going to make our jobs easier when these guys graduate.
Well, Mike, individually, what are you looking to accomplish on Saturday? Final home game or final game? Go out with a bang here?
Just win. Just a win. I don't care how we get it, how it's done. 6 and 5's, something that we can come back to Cedar and be proud of, have a trophy in our locker room. So just a win.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Statement for being this weekend, and we'll put it up.
Yes, it was a good weekend for both programs, men and women. I think it topped off a really good season for the women. They're moving forward, so I was pleased to see them run at the regionals and do as well as they did. So now we can move on to the indoor and hopefully continue that improvement. On the guys' side, I knew we needed to get at least 6 to get into the nationals, and we did that, which that puts us 3 years now in a row qualifying the team. So I've always said the more you can get on the doorstep, eventually that door is going to open, and so we're going in ranked 25th, and I hope we can at least maintain 25th and potentially move into the teens, because I believe we're that good. When you look at the regional results, separating third and fourth place to 6th place was not a whole lot of points. So when you consider in that group is a team that's ranked 4th in the country, I think it does gives an indication of potentially how good we are as a program, as a team.
Coach, when you look at it 3 years in a row, 4th time in program history going to nationals as a team, I mean, how much of a sense of pride do you feel knowing that you're going for the 3rd consecutive year in a row?
Well, it's a sense of accomplishment, within the program and with the team culture the way it is. I think it's set up to be very aggressive at the national level. As all of us coaches here at this university and universities that are similar to it knows how difficult it is just to get even one person to the national championship, especially in light of 315 D1 teams in this country. To be one of 31 qualifying for the 3rd year in a row, is obviously a sense of accomplishment and a little glimpse of what we all can become. I mean, the right culture, the right athletes, the constant, pursuing a dream. And these are the types of things that happen, I believe. And so, yeah, there's a sense of accomplishment, and as we look at the roster and who we've signed and what we have coming back, it doesn't look as if it's going to slow down at all. It looks as if it's going to even get better. And so it's just it's fun to be in the game, so to speak, and so it is. It feels good.
Josh, when you look at the team that's going to nationals, there's not even a senior on that team. Pretty much everybody's bound to come back. I mean, how does that feel knowing you have reached this accomplishment, but you guys still have so much room to improve?
It's really cool, and kind of like Coach says, it just means that in coming years we're going to be stronger. Our oldest guy right now on the team's a junior, and the rest are under a junior. So, I mean, it's just really exciting to see that the whole roster's going to be back, plus a few guys that are redshirting and freshmen coming in.
Heading to nationals, what's your mindset?
Just trying to stay positive. It's easy at this point in the season to you start having little aches and pains everywhere, and just kind of feel a little sick all the time. And you just have to stay positive and just try to look at all the good you've done throughout the season, all the hard workouts you've finished. So,
how do you feel about the place that you guys did in regionals?
I feel good about it. I feel like we could have finished a lot higher as well, though. To finish one spot higher would have only been 12 points, which is nothing at a meet that big. And even up till 4th place was only 25 points, I think. So just if everyone has a good day at nationals, it's really exciting to see what we could do.
What do you think your team's capable of at nationals?
I think definitely mid-teens as a team. If not, I definitely think we should finish higher than our 25th ranking. So.
Coach, with all the aches and the pain that Josh was talking about, how do you help your athletes go into your last week's year?
Just try to keep things consistent. Don't do things that you haven't done, before. I know that at the Nationals they have a gigantic banquet, they have a concert, none of which we're going to attend, because we haven't attended a big banquet or a concert at any other meet. And so I think keeping things consistent and reminding them that they're in better shape than they were going into Minnesota, going into Wisconsin, going into Notre Dame. And now what it is 300 athletes lining up, the best athletes in the country lining up on the starting line, all going for it. Being able to adjust to whatever's thrown at them. It's supposed to be real windy. It's supposed to rain all day Friday, be real windy on Saturday. Now you add that to all the best athletes in the country there, you know, being able to handle, you know, whatever's thrown at you. You know, the pace may go out crazy fast, and then it may go out like really slow. So adjusting to that and not getting stuck in the middle of the pack, because that becomes like a boxing match. I mean, you're bumping and running into people and stopping slow. I mean, starting, you know, going fast, going slow. And so if we can control where we are in the pack and understand that, you know, we can't control all the things thrown at us, just be prepared for it. I think with those things in mind, I think that prepares them emotionally, mentally, and then it's up to them. We go in and we do what we've done all year long, and it should turn out pretty good for us.
Josh, from an athlete's perspective, how much pride do you guys feel knowing that, I mean, you yourself going to nationals back-to-back years, the team 3 straight years, just how do you guys feel about that accomplishment?
We're really excited, and it just means that all of our work that we've done throughout the season pays off, and that coach's program really does work. And I mean, we're not a team that has a lot of really good recruits out of high school like a lot of the other teams at nationals do, so it means that coach really does develop his athletes.
For you personally, the last 3 weeks, all conference, all region, it really seems like you're peaking at the right time. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few rough races early this year, and it was just about staying positive and just trying to work through it. Because I came in pretty fit, and then it just wasn't translating into races, so it got a little frustrating. But now I'm seeing some good results, so it's getting a lot easier to just stay positive and keep trying hard in workouts.
Coach, Josh talks about how your program works. How much development have you seen in this core of guys this season?
To be able to sustain, to perform at the level that they're performing at, you know, from day one all the way through the end of the season, obviously doesn't just happen. So, you know, as a coach, that they have been doing the right things on the off season. You know, they've been covering the mileage and the distance, and they're doing, I can't be with them. There's not enough hours allowed for me to be with them every single hour, and they've got a lot of mileage to cover. So, there's 10 miles that I can be with them, and then they've got to cover the additional mileage. And so in this sport, I'm sure it's like any sport, but in this sport, you can't be cutting the workouts, or it's going to start coming out in the end that you've been cutting workouts. And so they're doing all the right things, to be able to stay at this level. So the development, both physically and emotionally, to take responsibility and ownership and know that it's a partnership, is something I think all coaches in all sports look for. And in this sport, in this year I've seen that with these guys, and in the past too. All the great athletes, all the great programs that are great teams that have come through this program, that's what they had in common. They were doing all the right things at the right time and sticking to the game plan.
You mentioned you were impressed with your women's team finish at regionals. Just talk a little bit about their season as a whole and how you feel like it went from start to finish.
Yeah, well, going in, ranked, I think 9th in the region, or in the conference, and not even ranked in the region, based on last year's performance. You just hope for just a little bit improvement, so that all the signs show that things are going to get better. You can't sustain number one all the time. Most programs can't do that. No matter who's the number one team today, they're not going to be able to sustain that. But can they be, in the fight year in and year out, potentially at the conference and at the regional level and at the national level? Yeah, you can. But some of your smaller programs sometimes, after a great season, take a major step backwards at times, for whatever reason. So to see these young ladies, after last year's performance, move forward further than a lot of people were projecting, is exciting for next year. Because I feel, as a coach that coaches two genders, I feel the ups and downs, the victories and the losses, as much as I feel with any of the teams. I mean, the guys win, the women lose. It's a weird feeling. You're happy, but you're sad. The women win, the guys lose. It's a weird feeling. It's you're high and you're low, and so, I don't just focus in on feel for only one team. I feel for both those teams. And so when something's going well with the guys and you think you've done everything right with the women and it's not working, you know, it causes, you know, a moment of pause and think reevaluating things. And so when you see both teams moving in the right direction, you know, it makes for a great Thanksgiving. So I feel really good about where they are today.
Do you feel like the performance this year for both the men and the women's team will help you next year?
Oh yeah. The women are coming back. We lose one on the women's side, and they're stronger. They're more mature now, more experienced. So we're definitely going to see. I think at least we're going to be in the top 3, I believe, next year on the conference level. I hope we can make improvements at the regional level. As you know, it is difficult to get to that national championship. So we have to be able to beat 290 teams or 85 teams to be able to get to the nationals on that women's side. And that's just going to take some time. I mean, we're starting with young ladies that aren't the Foot Locker finalists. If I had the Foot Locker finalists year in and year out, we would be there year in and year out. But we have to actually develop these athletes and hopefully, and stick with them, not just bring them in and then, you know, quickly clean house and bring somebody else new. We work with them through their freshman year, through a redshirt year, and try to get them to get to a level that is going to be competitive at the conference, which we have, the regional and the national level. So yeah, I'm really excited where they're going, and obviously the guys and what I think going to happen next year with the guys. You know, they're both programs are moving up, and that's all you can really ask for.
Cool. Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Yep.